Government hasn't worked for working families like mine. I know what it's like to see an eviction notice, to work a minimum wage job. My first one was at the age of 12, working to support my family. My dad was a social worker. My mom was a home health care aide. No matter how hard they worked, they struggled to make ends meet for me and my siblings. And unfortunately, my story isn't that unique.
If elected, Kenyatta would be the 12th black person and first ever openly gay man to serve in the United States Senate. And joining me now is that man, Malcolm Kenyatta, the state representative for Pennsylvania's 181st District and a candidate for the U.S. Senate. Representative Kenyatta, welcome to the Sunday Show.
Happy to be here, and congratulations, Jonathan.
Oh, thank you. But this is about you. So why now? Why throw your hat in the ring to run for U.S. Senate?
You know, I said it when we launched. The country is really at a crossroads right now. Absolutely. And every generation steps up to do two things: protect and expand the promise of America. And that promise, we know, has for too long excluded far too many of us, particularly working people. You know, you mentioned Pat Toomey at the top of the hour, and for 2 terms now, he has prioritized his big corporate donors over people who are struggling right now, a struggle that has been exacerbated by this cruel pandemic. And so I think we fundamentally have to go in a different direction. We have to have a message that resonates with working people, policies that actually lift up working people, but also we have to have authentic messengers who know exactly what we're facing. And when we talk about not having health care or housing or student loan debt, these are things that I know in my bones because I've dealt with them and fought about them well before I ever decided to run for office.
And that gets to the next question I was going to ask after the why now. The next question is, why you?
Well, you know, to expound on that, Jonathan, is people in Pennsylvania need a fighter for working people. They need somebody who's going to bring energy and clear vision to the inaction that we so often see in Washington as it relates to what working families need. You look at what has happened throughout this pandemic, small businesses that are closing, an eviction crisis that is still looming, folks struggling with student loan debt and other types of debt. What we need are people who understand in their heart, who understand through their lived experience what it looks like when government doesn't work. If we're going to get from where we are to where we need to be, it's going to be people who know where the pain is, who can identify it, who are going to be best able to lead us to a place where America's promise is not just a promise, but it's something that we actually fulfill for every single American.
Now, Pennsylvania it flipped back to the blue column in the 2020 election. You are from the Philadelphia area, right?
Yep.
Right? And so heavily blue, but a lot of the state is red. So what's going to be your message to red Pennsylvania to get them to vote for you?
Well, listen, this is currently the only toss-up seat, according to Cook Political Report. And so what's happening in the Pennsylvania Senate race is going to be critical to Democrats expanding and maintaining the majority in the Senate right now. And what we're going to have to do is bring the gang back together that just elected Joe Biden, and just what we saw in Georgia. That was working class voters. That was young people. That were suburban voters that are more and more becoming Democratic leaning voters. Also seeing record turnout among African Americans. People in every single part of Pennsylvania know what it means to not be paid a wage that has a level of dignity. Know what it means for healthcare to be something that's out of reach for people, to have people struggling. Am I going to buy my prescriptions this month, or am I going to pay my bills? This is a struggle that is universal across the Commonwealth. And so I believe that this campaign about lifting up working people is a campaign that in every single part of the Commonwealth, people are going to get engaged with. And that's why we've seen thousands of people just in 48 hours go to malcolmkenyatta.com and get engaged in this campaign.
Representative Kenyatta, can we just talk about how revolutionary your ad is? And I say that because we showed a key moment from your ad at the beginning of this segment. And it's you doing what American families do every day. And we're about to see it right now. Well, no, it came before that. But it's you walking out of your house and giving your husband a kiss on the lips and walking out. Why was it important for a campaign launch ad? Why was it important for you to show your life as you live it?
Well, Dr. Matt likes to correct. He said, I kissed you. But I think, you know, in general, people want to see candidates that represent the fullness of the American experience. You know, you mentioned that we've only ever elected 11 African Americans to the United States Senate. And it's not only because there have only been 11 qualified African Americans who could serve. We've never elected a gay man to the United States Senate, an openly gay man. And it's not because there's never been a qualified openly gay man. What we have to do is recognize the value of our distinctions. And I know exactly what it's like to be treated unfairly simply because of who I am and who I love. And for Pennsylvanians, whether they look like me or not, or love like me or not, what they know after seeing me in Harrisburg and understanding my work as a community activist before that, that I will fight like hell for Pennsylvanians and for working people. And that is ultimately the question in this campaign. Who should government work for? It should work for working people. And I think working people can speak for ourselves. People who know what it's like to not be paid with dignity, to worry about those bills, to sit at that proverbial kitchen table trying to figure it all out. We are the people who need to have a voice in the United States Senate.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.